This video is going to jump into some of the details of working with panels, in particular how to use layers, how to use transformations, and also discuss how not to use layers.
So now let's zoom in a little bit on one panel, and let's just do some very basic drawing. So we're just gonna do something in this scene. Maybe somebody is going to get sad, and then they'll be happy and get sad. All right. So I'm gonna make my drawing. I'm gonna be in the panel I want to be in. I have it selected. I go to the layer I want to be in, and then I'm going to select the brush, and then I'm going to go to my tools properties and make sure I have a brush that I like. So I'll select this brush here, and then I can go ahead and just draw a smiley face. So now here I have this happy person. Now, one important distinction is that each panel has its own layers. It's kind of like its own sealed off environment. And that's important in the sense that, let's say I want to make this happy person, and then the story beat is going to be that they become sad. What I would want to do is actually make that happen in the next panel, not do it in another layer. I wouldn't want to come here, create a new vector layer, and then, you know, make the sad face and try to animate the visibility of the layers, because you cannot animate visibility of layers in Storyboard Pro. The way you do it is, if it's a change, a different key moment of the story, it should be a different panel. So I'm go ahead and delete that layer. So now let's say we are drawing across multiple panels. One useful tool for that is going to be the onion skinning. So if you turn this guy on, it's not doing anything yet, but once you start drawing, it's going to show you the previous and the next panel. So when I go to this panel, I'll see the previous panel in light orange. So I could really be anywhere in the timeline I want as long as it's in the panel, since we're not putting any animation information in there. So I'll just go over here. I see him, and now I know I want to make him sad. What I can also do up here with this tool is I can scrub between the drawings. So now let's say I go over to my third panel, and what he's going to do is he's going to yell. So and then I go over to my third panel, and now he's going to be yelling. And now I can go ahead and scrub. So if I'm in my second panel, like I said, it's going to show you the previous and next, so you can kind of flip through your panels and see how the animation is working. So if we turn off onion skinning, we don't see that anymore, and of course that's not working now. It's disabled, I should say. So as we're scrubbing, there we see this is what's happening across our keyframes. So now an important note is when you're playing back your animation, so you can hit play, and of course you see your animation play back. But if you have this button pressed, it's going to reframe everything to fit the composition, even while you scrub. So here's what I mean. So if I were to scrub now, it does this weird jump while I'm scrubbing, where it's completely framing the composition. And if I play it back, it does the same thing. It completely reframes the composition. So if you see that type of behavior, you don't know why it's kind of jumping around, you could enable or disable uh, this button to your taste. Um, so now let's see. So we covered onion skinning. So now let's talk about transformations. So let's say that maybe um, in this frame, in this panel, we want to add something happening. So I'm going to add a new vector layer, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw uh, just something over here. In order to animate it, I'm also going to zoom in a little bit closer. So in order to animate it, we can achieve this in a couple ways. I'm going to win a little real estate here to show this guy fully. Um, in order to animate a layer property or something in a layer, what you need to do is select the layer transform. And that's what you use in order to animate a layer. So you can see as I select a different layer, the different things get selected. So I can have different animation for each layer. I could add a keyframe by pressing here, or I could add a keyframe by pressing this button here. So let's go to the beginning of the animation. I'm going to go over here, and then I'm going to go ahead and set a keyframe. Now I'm going to go to the end of the animation here, and I'm going to go ahead and, since it already has a keyframe, once I move this, it's going to go ahead and automatically create a keyframe. Now this offset here, it's just because that pivot, all the animation is based around this pivot, but you can move it, and now you can see it reset it to more like near the center of the object. So now this means that, so this is how you would animate something inside of a layer, inside of a panel. Since it has keys and it's automatically adding keys, we can also maybe change its trajectory. And of course, we can also hold shift and drag to change its scale. And you can also rotate. So that's how you would animate objects in a layer. Again, it's different for each layer. And it's very important to have this selected. If this is not selected, if you have any other tool selected, you won't be able to do any of the animation. So you'll be confused, like, hey, why can't I set keyframes on this? And it's